What's up? Sure. What's up? What's the question? If a person were to live for 1,000 years, what do you think that person would be like, and why do you think that? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this thought experiment. If a person lived 1,000 years, they would be angry, bitter, and full of themselves. I've noticed this with humans. The more we learn, the more big-headed we get. It's just the nature of the beast. That's why and this is coming from, I'm almost 60. I'll be 60 in a few months. Um, I think personally, most, there would be a few really, really humble ones. But most people, the reason why, the reason why an older person can walk up, an older person will walk up to a young person and think they have the right to tell that person what they should and shouldn't do and what they can and can't do is because they have gained a cumulative knowledge over the years. Knowledge makes you big headed. It makes you full of yourself. It makes you the know it all. You know what I mean? Which is why the term know it all even exists. That being said, he would be angry and bitter because he lived 1,000 years and his loved ones didn't. So, you know, the average person, if they lived 1,000 years, would be angry, bitter, and full of themselves. You know, um, and that's with anything, man. That's with. I'll say this. That's with even if you go to the whole dating scene and women nowadays are getting these jobs and this and that and they've got these degrees. They think that because they've made these degrees that they can walk up to men like, I'm better than you. No, you just went to school. That's it. You're no better than me. You're not even smarter than me. You just went to school. And that's not against school, but like intelligence, accumulated intelligence has a way of giving people the big head, man. It just makes people prideful, and stuck up, and puffed up, and you know what I mean. Like I've seen it. I'm almost 60. I've seen it. And I don't like it. I didn't like it when I was younger, when older people were telling me what to do, and I don't like now that I'm older. I don't like doing it to younger people. And a lot of times I have to check people my age, like, yo, let the young boy do what he want to do. Who are you? There was a point in time where the older generation, older people were telling you what to do. Now you're doing the very same thing you do. And the reason why you end up doing that is because you have these accumulated years of knowledge and insight, and you know what I mean? You've over the years you've built up like this accumulative knowledge. And you think you have the right to impose what you think is good based on what worked for you. It should work for everybody else. No, no. I'm telling you, man. People get really the smarter you are, the harder it is to stay humble. I'm telling you, it's hard to stay humble. The only reason, and I'm going to say this. I say this because I'm 59. I started playing at 3. So you do the math. I've been playing probably longer than your dad has been alive. And one of one of the things that kept me from being the prideful, big-headed dude was I made a decision early on. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. If I see something that I like, I'm going to learn it. I'm not going to look at a younger player and look down on him because I've been playing longer or I know more or if I've experienced. I've been on tours and everything, or I've experienced more than that young person. That takes a concerted effort. There are times I'm on here, every day, pretty much every day. You know, I've been off for maybe a week and a half just recently. I'm still getting over this flu. I think it was C19. I can't mention it because YouTube is crazy like that. Um, but um, there are times where when I'm on stream, dudes will say, "Oh, do you know Blasey blah?" Or you should check out so and so. Now, the internal me that I fight is, what are you? What? Come on, man. He can't be. No, but I catch myself and I'm like, you know what? What do you want? Do you want to get better or do you want to seem like you're right and you're all that? I want to get better. I don't care who I learn it from. I don't care how I get it. So a lot of times I got a pad. I got a notebook right here full of stuff that guys online, they ask me to check out. So it takes a concerted effort. When you have a cumulative knowledge, it takes a concerted effort to stay humble. It does. And the older you get, the harder it gets. Why do you think old people, when they get in their 80s and 90s, they don't care what they say to people? Because they're so full of themselves. They think they have the right to just say whatever they want, however they want to somebody. You don't. Just because you're 80 or 90, I respect you, but you're not going to talk to me the way you think you can. No, respect me. But that's what happens, bro. It's not, oh, your generation is blah, blah, blah. No, it's with every generation. And which leads me to the conclusion that it's accumulative knowledge. You know what I mean? Now, multiply 70, like, imagine, like, 10,000 years. Do you know how bitter that person would be? All their friends are gone. All their family's gone. You know how angry they would be? Well, after 1,000 years, they'd probably jump off a cliff. Because after a while, you get tired of meeting somebody or meeting a girl. And man, you know how, let me tell you something. I'm married with 4 kids. I would be Jeffrey Dahmer. Well, I ain't gonna go that far. I would be Genghis Khan. I'd have no concern or no consideration for human life. Human life. That's how angry I would be if I outlived my wife and all 4 of my kids. And my friends. I'd be lonely. I wouldn't want to make friends anymore. I'd be angry and bitter. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Well, if you're talking 10,000 years, the capacity to love, I think if you continue to get hurt, it kills the capacity to love. If I'm married to my wife and she dies, I outlive her and I outlive all my kids. And they get married again, fall in love. I somehow find another soulmate, fall in love. And I outlive, and we have kids, and I outlive her and kids. And I do it again, and I outlive her, and I outlive the kids. I'm not going to do it again. Ain't that much sex in the world. Ain't that, like, I would be so, your heart gets hardened. Anger will harden your heart. It will callous your heart. So the capacity of love doesn't grow. It would get choked out by anger and resentment, and I'm telling you. That's just that's how it is. You know, um, the capacity to love is very fragile. It's not. It's very very fragile. If you let me tell you something. I've met the most loving people, and it didn't take them 10,000 years to lose the capacity to love. It took getting hurt. You know. Now, well, this is my personal pontifications, but yeah, it's like I know people who were the most loving. I know women who were the most loving women. I know men who would just like they would bend over backwards for a woman. I was in a band with a guy. He's an incredible bass player. His capacity to love is gone. And he told us one time. He Man, this dude was such a dog. He slept with the percussionist's girlfriend, got her pregnant. And I hipped him to Steely Dan, particularly that album Asia. And he fell in love with that album. So we were doing like, this is like, I don't know, we were in our early 20s. We were doing like Steely Dan covers from like Katie lied and Can't Buy a Thrill, Asia, those albums. Um, and we were a bunch of hired guns basically, and we decided to form up our own band. But this dude had no capacity to like stay with one woman or trust one woman or. And it came from he fell in love with this girl and she broke his heart and was cheating on him. And he vowed that he would never be in that position again. And he had no boundaries. Like I said, the dude slept with our percussionist's girl and got her pregnant. Then kept dating her. Had a daughter and a son. This was crazy. And he named her Elijah. He named her Asia after Steely Dan's album. It's crazy. You know what I mean? And it took him to get his heart broken. And he ain't the only man like that. And women do the same thing. You know what I mean? Women, there's women who they'll go straight to the pole. They get their hearts broken, go straight to the pole. And they make a decision. I'm going to play every man that comes. No. The capacity to love can get crushed by getting hurt. I've seen it happen. Thank you. Canadian proud. Thank you. Yeah, guys, he asked me a question, so I had to. Why not? So far, this new interface is way better than the iRig. Everything sounds better. Abu Baker or Abu Bakar. It's Abu Bakar. You say, wow, you look young. If I let my facial hair grow and the hair on my head grow, you wouldn't say that. You'd be like, bro, you're old. I just shave all this. You know, my wife doesn't like facial hair, and I like being bald because it's just easy. Don't have to worry about combing my hair. Just washing hair, you know. Um, so yeah, and um, I work out, man. I got a gym right over there in my house. You know, lat pull down, all that stuff. Take care of your body when you're young, and your body will take care of you when you're older. That's an old saying, but it's true. I live by that. I learned that, and over the years, I've worked out and kind of watched what I eat and what have you. And a lot of my friends, like I'm at the age now, I'm 59. I'm at the age now where a lot of my friends are dying because they didn't take care of their body. You know, a lot of my friends look horrible. Like they really look bad. You know, and they live that. You know, I don't care. They ate like a kid for their entire life. You know what I mean? Like you can eat like a kid when you're a kid. Your body's resilient. When you hit your teens, you better start thinking about that. I started thinking about that when I was like 13, 14. You know, and I just been on some take care of myself kick ever since. You know what I mean? Like I always been like that. Don't get me wrong. I had a little smoky smoke every now and then. You know, but everything in moderation. You know what I mean? I did more than a little smoky smoke. You want to be honest? You know, but everything in moderation, man. You can't do anything too much. Too much of anything is a bad thing. You know what I mean? So I thank you for the compliment, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But it was kind of like, you know, it's something I worked on for a very long time. And plus, I've always thought like if you're a drummer, you gotta. The drums are it's different. You're not wiggling your fingers. You can be a fat dude wiggling your fingers. That's fine. You can. You can be a fat dude on drums eventually, man. Like like the drums are so physical. You can't. You know, you're gonna either be forced to lose weight or you ain't gonna last long, man. You know, there's a guy named Larry London. He's a great He's a great drummer. He died like 40 something years old. Like fat people don't live long. They don't live long. I'm telling you right now. I don't care how unpopular. I know we have this, oh, don't be so fat phobic. You need to be fat phobic. It's unhealthy. I don't accept it. I don't accept a sedentary lifestyle and eating junk and no, and I didn't want to do that, man. I saw people going into pre-diabetes because they just sat around eating like kids, eating kids' food, eating chicken nuggets and stuff like that, instead of like regular adult food, actual chicken that you cook. Like, yeah, man. I don't rock with fast foods and nothing like that. Don't get me wrong. I eat it if it's available. But at this point in my life, if I eat that nastiness, it'll just make me feel like trash. So I don't even bother eating it. I'd rather not eat. I'd rather starve. If I'm somewhere and there's nothing available, I just won't eat. I ain't like super skinny. I got some fat right here. So I ain't gonna die. But I'd rather not eat, man, than eat some junk. It ain't the first time I've been hungry before. So let me tell you something, bro. I don't know how my boy is a peacemaker. He is such a peaceful guy, and the irony is that the boy can fight like the devil. Like he got hands. I don't want to name his name. It's like one of my best friends. He got hands, bro. He got serious hands. Um, and his philosophy was, I'm not gonna show out and lower my. I'm not gonna act a fool because y'all are fools. Um, so he just went and got another girl. That simple, you know. And she was xed out. You know what I mean? So He knew. Like that's you gotta kind of know. Like, okay, I can act a fool, but then I stoop to their level. Eventually, reality is gonna catch up with them, and this is something they gotta live with. That's something on there. That has to do with their character. It has nothing to do with you. And he's right. He was a lot. He was a lot wiser than we were. Um, at that, because I don't know what I'd have did. I'd have probably hit him like with a brick or something. You know. But yeah, I've seen some things, man. It's crazy. Yo, this sounds so much better. I switched it. What I did was I got a Mac right there. I got a MacBook, and I got a iMac. I got a Mac Mini there, and I got a Mac Pro right there. That iMac, I usually just have it just for production and what have you. That MacBook Pro, I use it for mobile stuff. You know, it's pretty. Yes? No, I said yes. I said yes, not come in. I said yes, not come in. Okay, open the door. Open the door. Open the door. What's up? Open the door. Open the door. I'm on stream. What's up, mama? Yes. Your sister used to make them back in the day. Tell mom so she could, put it on the grocery list. You did? So you gonna make them for us? You gonna make them for us? Don't laugh. Well, if your mom gets the recipe, if she gets the supply, would you make them for us? Yay! Could you give me a bottle of water, mama? Thank you. Ooh, I think she farted. Oof. Colin? Collie? I think she farted, bro. And the fan is blowing it right in my face. Come on, dog. Smell like asparagus. Yuck. Ah. Fart. What up? What up? What up? I'm starting to like this Mac, the iMac better. This I don't know. I just it just sounds better for some reason. Song, I'm not really good at that. Yeah, I'm not really good at it. Um, yeah, I'm not good at that stuff. I know the basic stuff, but I'm not good at that. I wish I were, to be honest, but I'm not. I know the old school 1985, 1990 stuff. You know. Plus, to be honest, I still feel like trash. You know, I'm no, huh? Hold on, somebody's at the door, guys. What? I have to sign something? Certified mail stuff. for my younger son, Davis. Yeah, I'm not good at that stuff, man. I wish I was. I got to sit down and buckle down and kind of learn it. Ah, yo, what do you guys think about that whole Jake Paul, Mike Tyson thing? Well, before you even, it's fake. It's fixed. It's fake. And people are like, Mike Tyson slapped him. And Mike Tyson played in movies. The Hangover and The Hangover 2. And he played in some Ip Man movie. Mike Tyson understands acting. He understands kayfabe. He understands it. That's how you sell a fight. The boxing game is like this. In order to sell a fight, like for instance, why do you think why do you think Conor McGregor was, when he fought Floyd Mayweather, dance for me, boy. You calling him, you may be able to get that off in Britain, but if you call a black man boy, it ain't, and you're in his face, all that little troll stuff, no. You're standing in his face, and you call him boy. He's going to punch you in the mouth. Why do you think Floyd was like, whatever. Floyd didn't do anything. Because that sells the fight. Later on, he was like, I love Floyd, blah, blah, blah. They were buddies. Because they sold the fight. That's how you sell a fight. Why do you think Floyd Mayweather went from Pretty Boy Floyd to Money Mayweather? He shaved his head and went to Money Mayweather and became the bad guy because he was beating everybody. His fights were kind of boring, so he wanted to bring like some kind of anger, and he wanted to be reviled because he knew there was money in people wanting to see him get knocked out. Boxing selling fights is you got to sell it, man. You got UFC does it. They took a page from the person who invented it was Ali. When he fought Joe Frazier, he said, "I'm gonna beat this gorilla in Manila. I'm gonna be the killer of the gorilla in Manila," and took a rubber gorilla and was beating it up. Now that was before, like this is at a time when boxers just didn't do that. Joe Frazier on his deathbed was like, I hate Muhammad Ali. They asked Muhammad Ali, he was like, man, it's all a game, bro. It's all a game. Ali knew he knew what it was. He was like, you got to sell a fight. And subsequently, Ali is the guy who brought millions to boxing. If not for Ali, boxers would not be making millions. They wouldn't. Boxers didn't make any money. He brought money to boxing. Why? Because he brought excitement. He brought like anger. He brought like he would rile people up. You know what I mean? He would get in their heads. Ali was a genius. He's a genius fighter and a marketing genius. He knew how to sell fights. And every other person either stole his rope-a-dope style, stole his footwork, stole his handwork, or they stole his marketing, or all of it, You know what I mean? All of boxing either comes from Ali, Jack Johnson, or Chavez. You know what I mean? So Yeah, man, they're selling the fight, bro. They're selling the fight, man. Come on, man. Stop it. You know, baby oil comes from petroleum. My son asked me that. My 13-year-old. He's like, I mean, he knew it wasn't babies, but it was like a little joke. It comes from petroleum, which is why I don't use baby oil. It's a fine petroleum-based product that would leach into your skin. That can't be good, especially for babies. Yeah. No. Yes and no. Um, what this is, it's a this is a Sabian, an old Sabian that cracked, and I just cut it down. And it's a Zildjian that cracked. Um, Basically, it's two symbols that broke, and I just stacked them. Now the leftovers are over here. That's like I don't know. It's a crute. I'm doing good, y'all. I'm not burping in the mic. That's a crute symbol. If you've never heard of yeah. I had to actually Google it. It's an old symbol company out of Britain. They stopped making symbols in like the late '60s, early '70s. You'd be lucky to find one. I found this is the second one I found, so I just got it just to. They don't last long. They sound like trash. They never took off because crute sounds like crude. Bad marketing. That's like Mexico trying to sell Chevy Novas in Mexico. Nova means slow in Spanish, like So they didn't really take off. But that being said, it's a crude symbol with the scraps from this. I drilled holes in them and bolted them together, and it's under that is a Sabian. Whoa, whoa. It's a Sabian. It's a 16-inch Sabian XS um, symbol. So I hate the way XSs sound. They're just like garbage. They don't even make them anymore, so I won't throw it away. I have two of them. I just got them, but yeah, that's what it is. It's the leftovers from this. Well, this is two symbols, and this is the leftovers. But it's just, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Like I've seen guys stack actual splash symbols, but this is not it. This is stack trash symbols. Thank you. Really? I mean, um, okay. I love this. Um, I love Minor symbol. I like zildjians. Those are like my favorite symbols are zildjians, Istanbuls, and Minors. Um, zildjians because of like the sound. There's a certain sound that they have. Istanbuls kind of have that same sound as Zildjian, but a more vintage kind of sound to it, like almost smoky, darker kind of sound to it. Um, and Minor, because they have their own sound, they have a more modern sound, but it's just different. They have their own sound, man. Minor makes really good cymbals. They really do. All right, guys, I gotta wipe off that camera. I mean that the lens on that. Yes, yes, but in a good way, in a good bright in a good way. Um, they're yeah, bright in a good way. I like them, man. I like the sound of Minos. The reason why I like them is I'm also thinking like an engineer. They cut through the mix. Like the problem with Zildjians, well, number one, Zildjians are horrible at bells. That's horrible. You know, Zildjian bells are always bad. They make great cymbals, but their bells are really bad. Meinl and Sabian makes better bells. I just don't like Sabians. Sabians are like Zildjian light, and they sound like Zildjian light. But Meinl's, I like they're punchy, they're brighter, and I like the attack. They sound really good, recorded. They sound really good recorded. Which again, I don't know if I said this. The problem with Zildjians is a lot of times they sound too dark. Um, which is good for jazz and anything jazz-ish, but it ain't it for like, I don't know. You got to get the really thick, um, like the rock and roll Zildjians. You got to get those, and they usually don't sound good. Not to me. They don't sound good. Um, but Meinl, they sound bright, but they still sound good. They still have great tone. Um, you don't have to have these extra thick, like cymbals. Their cymbals just they have a sound. Like even like the thing with like thin cymbals is they sound really dark. Um, which is kind of like a jazz kind of thing. But Mile has somehow found a way to make thin cymbals. Now they make thick cymbals, but they can make thin cymbals that still have brightness to it. It's hard to explain. So I like Meinl. Oh, use this in a groove? I guess, yeah, why not?
Yo, Ludwig's. I started on Ludwig's too. Well, I started on a CD 700. I don't even think they make those anymore. And then I just making sure I'm not muted. Then a friend of mine let me play his kit. He had a Ludwig kit that had they had like stainless steel shells. They were wood on the inside, but the outside were metal. Those drums were heavy, but they sounded incredible. And I've played other kits. For a while, I had two Gretsch kits, which I'll probably buy another Gretsch kit. Because I have one of the older ones. The newer ones, they have kind of like the cut down toms. They're a little shorter. There was a point in time where Tama came out with the Star Classics, and they were shorter. They were the short toms. And DW started making the same kind of dimensions, the fusion kits with the short toms, and Gretsch kind of updated their thing, and they started doing the same thing with the fusion kits, of course, and which is a 10, 12, 14, and 16. But they started chopping down their toms too. So you kind of have, if you can still find those kits, I think they still make them, but they don't make, they don't make as many of them, which kind of sucks. Well, I'll say this. The newer Catalina kits, the Gretsch Catalina series kits, I say that to say Gretsch really has great sounding kits. Ludwig, Gretsch, and I don't know, man. Ludwig, Gretsch, Tama, Yamaha. Yamaha makes a bop kit that is insane. The jazz outfit I'm playing in, there's a Yamaha. A Yamaha bop kit. It's got like 20-inch bass drum, 13-inch rack tom, and a 14-inch floor tom, which is the classic jazz kind of setup. But Yamaha, DW makes ridiculous kits. I'm just kind of partial to Ludwig because they're just out the box sounding good. Like you're not paying an arm and a leg for the top of the line kit. Ludwig's they have the same consistent tone in all their kits. So that's and they're easy to record. You know what I mean? They're really easy to record. When you got a set of drums that like have a uniform sound, or it just has a classic drum sound. You can't. Ludwig, it has a classic tone, and really when you hear it, like with your regular ears, whatever. When you record them and you process them, that's when you hear the difference. And that's with a lot of kits. Some kits sound great live. They sound horrible in studio. That's why, guys, a lot of audio engineers, they'll just have a house kit. And usually it's like an old Ludwig that they change out the toms or whatever. Like the serious guys. It's like a classic Ludwig, and they change out the toms, and they always keep it like fresh and up to date. It's not like old and beat up, but it'll be like a classic Gretsch or a classic Yamaha. I mean, a classic Gretsch or a classic Ludwig. So, Ludwig makes really good drums, man, and they sound great, recorded. This is old school. That's old school. The newer school jazz is this. That's kind of like the newer kind of it's modern jazz basically, modern jazz drumming. This is like that's like it's like kind of like the more classic, swing. Or you can feather the bass drum. Or- That's called. It's kind of like it's not jazz. It's called Deacon Blues, or jump jazz. It's really Deacon Blues. Named after the song on Steely Dan's Asia album is based on that style of music. Well, it's not. The title is, because the song definitely isn't. But that's an actual genre of music. So it's a cool Steely Dan song, but it's a genre of music. It's like, it's a genre of it's jazz-ish. It's not necessarily. It's like not. It's like non-prov. It's like non. All right, girl. You know what is this weird 4B B4 movement or 4B movement? Man, who cares? They want to shave their heads, and who cares? Go away. It's like, cause you lost. Come on, man, get out of here, beat it. But like Deacon Blues is like jazz, but you don't improvise. If that's it's like non-improvisational jazz. It's got all the elements of jazz, but there's no improvisation. And a lot of times dudes are singing. Look it up, Deacon Blues. That's it's that's a classic Deacon Blues kind of swing. No, I'm not playing that song. Sorry. I'm not playing. No. I'm not playing that song. King Crimson, not really. Um, they, you know, um, I mean, I could play Rush and Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Um, but King Crimson really wasn't much of a challenge, so I really didn't listen. I didn't learn that stuff. I listened to it and they wrote good songs, but it really wasn't much of a challenge. Um, you know, yeah, man, like I learned every Neil Peart song from Fly By Night, the first album they did with him, up until Shoots and Ladders. That's like 2 decades. So from like the early 70s to the early 90s. I like Brain Salad Surgery, Tarkus, you know. They who did that? Somebody did a remake of it. Dream Theater did a remake of that album. Ba-da-ba. You know, well, this is loud. Um, oof. YYZ. Well, yeah. Tom Sawyer. Mimi's pride. They Tom Sawyer's got a Mimi pride, but it's hard to sing and play at the same time. Sorry. There you go. yeah, like Rush, um, Spirit of the Radio. Yeah. All that stuff, man. All that stuff. Uh, man, I transcribed every man. Neil Peart, God bless his soul, he taught me how to play drums. I learned how to play drums by Zeppelin tunes and learning every Zeppelin album, learning the majority of Rush's catalog, even the bootlegs. I came up in an era where, in vinyl, where this is what dudes would do. The sound guy would record their whole live show and then go to like the bootleg places and or they'd go to like a place and get it pressed up into vinyl and they'd sell them to the mom and pop record stores because like the big box ones, like Tower Records and stuff like that and Sam Goody, they couldn't, remember them? Tower Records, Sam Goody? It was like they were the big box one. So, you ain't going in there finding bootlegs. But you go to the little mom and pop stores, like in Manhattan, there used to be one right in Times Square. There was kind of like music. If you're standing right there and you're looking at that big digital sign, it used to be a dude. It used to be Tom Selleck in a cowboy hat with his mouth open like this and a big hand doing like this. And then the hand would move, and a giant 12-foot ring of like smoke would come out. This is the 70s. But years later they got rid of it. In the 90s, I would go to this spot. I have to explain it to you. Over here, it was nothing to see like Pearl Jam or whoever like shopping there. There was like a music store over here, a music store over there, like all the way down. And they were big box music. Like you go in there and it was like 3 or 4 stories of just instruments, just everywhere. And you didn't know who you were gonna see in there. I met Steve Vai. I met what's his name? Stevie Ray Vaughan. I met him like maybe 2 months before he died. He was in a white Celica. No. He was in a white with red trim Datsun 280Z. It was before they named it Nissan. It was just before they named it Nissan. He had on red, it was a white Datsun 280Z. The door was open and it had red trim. And he had red cowboy. All I saw was red cowboy boots. Sitting out, like the door was open and I saw a red cowboy boot. And I looked over and it was Stevie Ray Vaughan. I was like, holy smokes. He's like, hey, man. I think he was surprised that I was a black dude. I knew who he was. He's like, hey, man, what's up, man? It was wild, bro. I saw all kinds of people there. And this couldn't have been the 90s. It had to have been the 80s. Because I think he died in the late 80s or something like that. But it was like, um, but yeah. So I would just get I would get the vinyl bootlegs of Rush, you know, whoever was out at the time, you could get like the bootleg tapes. It's definitely not there anymore. Or you would get like classic albums, you know. There was another place too called Fat Beats where they sold a lot of bootleg. Fat Beats really was that was a place where a lot of hip hop heads went, but a lot of hip hop heads were pulling from Joni Mitchell and Cream, and you'd be surprised. Van Halen, like, they would be, snatching samples from a lot of rock and roll guys, you know what I mean? But you'd find all kinds of, but the thing about it is, like a lot of hip hop guys, they would get the bootlegs. They would get live versions. Like, you'd be like, man, I know that song. I would be like, the average dude, black dude, they'd be like, I don't know what that song is. It's a dope sample though, I'd be like, that's so-and-so and such and such, but that's a live version that I didn't know they had a live album. Years later, I found out they were getting board tapes of these acts, and they recorded their live shows, and it was selling the vinyls to, they were getting them pressed into vinyl and selling them to the mom and pop stores. So Fat Beats was another place where, up in New York, where you could find like bootleg vinyls. They had a place in Long Branch, New Jersey, and they had a place in Red Bank, New Jersey, where you could also find Red Bank, New Jersey. That's where Mallrats and all that stuff. I can't remember those guys' names, but that's where they come from. Red Bank, New Jersey. A lot of people come from Red Bank, New Jersey. You'd be surprised. But yeah, that was like, they had a place in Red Bank that had bootleg. They sold bootleg vinyls. A place in Long Branch, New Jersey. I knew of at least 3 places in New York. There's probably more, but I knew of at least 3 places that specialized in like a lot of the bootlegs. So I hate sweaty ears.